carts are critical for our chemical weed control. To be able to trap the survivors is just great. We get enough of a percentage of them to lower that weed bank. What we're finding is, as we get that weed bank down, the paddocks do just get better. It's getting that initial bit to get that weed number down, that's the bit that takes the time. Once we get on top of that, the carts are very handy. Our cart story is probably about 10 to 12 years old. We did battle to start with lack of knowledge, I suppose. There was no rule book around, and for the first 4 or 5 years we didn't do that good a job. We thought we did, but we really weren't doing that good a job. So the last 6 years we've been doing a pretty good job, we feel. What we found when we were just going into cereal crops and using a cart just to cut as low as we could, it got harder and harder. We had to get lower and lower to capture the weeds. What we've done is we've put barley in our program, and we'll swath those barleys as soon as we can and get the weeds into the swath with the barley. So that'll trap really well. It'll trap and dry out any radish that's in the barley. So when we come through, we won't have any radish winding out through the rotor because it's wet, it's soft and rubbery. It'll be dried out and we can get that down into the dump. And then brome grass as well is really, really good in there. So it gives us a bit more flexibility like that. So the swaths are dumped in a long, you might see in the background there, the swaths are dumped in a neat line across the paddock, and we'll come back in April or March, and we'll spread those out into a long line across the paddock. These carts are collecting nutrients, as we see in the fertility of the dump. So they're collecting a heap of nutrients. We'd rather have them spread back on the paddock. We're using slightly smaller carts, the old-fashioned cart. The heaps aren't too big for us to be able to drive through and flatten them out in autumn. And we'll seed straight through those, so the wheat and the canola heaps, most of those are just left. They tend to compost themselves and really don't cause us a problem. The barley heaps seem to thatch, and they're waterproof, so we can have volunteers, and we also get too many weed seeds coming out of those. So we'll come through after an 8 to 10 day dry spell in winter, and we'll quickly burn those up, and they'll smoulder away for 3 or 4 days. They do burn quite well, so that's how we're going to deal with those. Most people that have used carts in the past have gone away from them because of the problem of burning in summer. We're just going to keep all the rotor material out of the heaps, so we've got the fewest heaps we can, and we'll come through and deal with those in winter time. To be able to have a cart and to have knowledge when we're spraying that if we do have some misses, that we're going to get a second go at that weed in a different fashion to chemical is just great. So we're still doing it.